Hello there, aspiring tenors. Today is a little bit of a different video. I'm gonna do a recap of the second form of trading, which I pretty much use exclusively. This approach to trading is all about passive income, investing your time smartly over a prolonged period of time. Now, I'm gonna talk about what you can do as a new player when you've just started. What options do you have? Also, if you played for a while but you don't have a lot of plat or valuable items, where do you start? Where can you start building some capital? I'll talk about some of the setup in the early game that you need to do to really get started and get the most out of your time and not miss out on huge potential. And then we'll talk about the philosophy behind passive income, as well as show you some of the tools and spreadsheets that I've made covering this topic. And finally, we'll just very concretely talk about right now, what do you need to invest in order to make the most amount of platinum? All right, let's go ahead and actually do that now. Firstly, we need to talk about what you need to do as someone who has no capital. Where do you start? There is a lot of advice out there, and one of them, for example, is that you should, I don't know, farm corrupted mods, farm arbitration. It's not the case. I've done a video on this already, but primarily what you want to do is that you want to run event content. If Plague Star is available, you run that. If Prime Resurgence is available, you run that. If the Orphex event is up, you run that, and so on and so forth. And if that's not available, then there's a sort of mini cycle of events. Basically, I break this down in more detail in my junk video. I think you should watch that. It's a really good video. And I think I have the best one. Anyways, so that's a really good way to get some platinum as well. And that has, for as long as I've played, which is almost 7 years, relics and prime junk and primed items have been the best way as a new player to make platinum. There has been pockets where stuff has been better for a week or 2 weeks. It's rare, it does happen, but for the most time it's better prime relics, or just relics with primed items in them. That's the advice I'm the most comfortable giving you. But right now, right here, it's the brute force bounty on Deimos. That is the best long-term investment you can make for yourself by a mile and a half. My calculations, which was wrong by the way, says that you can get an hour, you can get 350 platinum, not immediately, but as an investment. I did a miscalculation, so it's actually 380, even better than I thought it was. So absolutely go ahead, if you're a new player, run that. In terms of things that you must do to get yourself set up, first up, you need to set up your syndicate. It is literally free platinum and there's no reason not to do it. Secondarily, craft the Arcane Launcher. I don't know how many players I've encountered who were much higher master rank than they should be in terms of not having crafted that yet. So go ahead and do that and complete your star chart. That's basically the 3 things which you must do, otherwise you're just wasting your time. Absolutely make sure that you do these things as early as possible. Then let's talk passive investment, because that is what this method is all about, and it gets better as you gain more resources. It's the most resource dependent, that's why it can be very difficult to get started early on, and you should expect at least 9 months of struggling. But once you get past that point, this form becomes both very easy and insanely profitable. I speak from experience. The basic idea here behind this philosophy or method is that you want to have the largest amount of items that will be when they will be worth the greatest amount. Right, so you want to buy items when they are cheap and then wait for them to increase in price and then sell them when they're worth more. Now, it's not only about buying the items that's gonna increase the most. You might be able to buy something which will increase by 50 platinum over 3 months, and then you might be able to buy another item which only increases by 25. However, if the item for 25 profit only costs a third of what the other one costs, you can buy 3 of that one. So if you spend all of your resources on that one, then you will actually end up with 50% more profit because you can have more of that item. That's the part of having as many as possible, and then the other part is they have to be as expensive as possible. Now, finding the balance between these two different aspects can actually be a little bit tricky sometimes, especially if you don't have, you know, thousands of hours in the game. Now, for me, it's all intuition. I can just look at 2 options and go, oh, that one's better, because, you know, I've done it so much. But if you want to skip that stage, which I understand perfectly fine, I have developed this tool. Where is it? There. As you see here, and I'm actually quite proud of this one. I put quite a bit of effort into it, and basically what you can do, these orange slots here, that's numbers that you can change. The others are either calculations or results, so don't mingle with that one, or you could break the entire thing. I should mention then that this one here is copy only, and that it can be found down in the description below. So this is your investment. It gives you, hold on, it's a little bit weird because I'm on the online version of it. But you can put in your investment, and then it will tell you how much you can expect to profit from it over a given amount of time. So if you invest 200 into Imperator Vandal, when that's available, 3 months later you will have made 200. So you will have doubled your investment. If you go ahead and do the same thing to Prime Junk, however, you will over 9 months do way more than double it. Okay. Now, it gets a little bit complicated, and I'm not gonna cover all of this here. I've already done an entire video on how to use this tool, so I'll just go ahead and link that up in the cards as well. Let's move on to the final point of this video. The final point I have here on my list is when to invest in what. That kind of goes back to what we just talked about a little bit, but I also think you would benefit from checking out my cycle of content, where I basically talk about primarily primed Warframes, how they cycle in and out of the game, but also primed mods and events and so on and so forth. Basically content which isn't available all the time, and that's why you want to invest, simply put. Now, I want to be a little bit concrete, because right now, at the time of this video, it can still be worth buying a couple of Ivara stats because it's just been vaulted. Otherwise, the next really good investment right now, and if an event comes out, this might change, so apply common sense to it, but right now the safest and one of the most profitable, however very slow, approaches is Titania. If you have at least 5,000 platinum, it's Titania, that's where it's at. You don't have to do it now, you can wait a month or 2 and then invest then. Before she gets vaulted, she's not going to get more expensive just because she approaches being vaulted, as you might expect, but I don't know, people just don't invest enough that early on. However, if you have less than 5,000, then I cannot recommend that you use Prime Junk enough. It's so good. Buying it and then turning it into Prime mods, and again I have an entire video on how to do this. So good. The profit is insane. It comes from a total misunderstanding of what Prime Junk is in general in the community, and because of that, people sell it way too cheap. So absolutely go ahead and do that. And that's basically all there is to it. It's not, there's a lot more to it, but with this you can really get started quite easily. And I will be moving on from this a little bit now, and I'll start talking about the first method of trade chat, active income, which is quite a bit more difficult to talk about. But anyways, I just wanted to catch you guys up to speed on this one. I still recommend that you watch the other videos, but if you just want a quick overhaul of what this whole concept is about, I think this is a good video. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Also, why haven't you subscribed yet?